Hey guys, it's Nikia,
And Jasmine.
and this is Black
Black
Girl
Girl Lit.
Lit.
Yay! We're on a podcast now, guys.
Oh my God, Black Girl Lit, where we get lit and we read lit. All right, y'all, we are back and we're getting lit.
We're getting lit this time.
Here we go.
Oh, I gotta slurp.
All right, so if you all follow us on social media, you know that Jazz and I live apart now. She lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. I live in Fredericksburg, Virginia. That's what, 250 miles?
300.
Oh, yeah.
350 miles, because I just drove that on Saturday.
No, you went to Woodbridge, though.
That was thing.
So it's only like 300 miles. But we didn't want to stop Black Girl Lit, and we were doing videos on my channel, and Jazz came up with the brilliant idea. She comes up with all the good ideas. I just execute.
Yes. Yes.
And she said, let's turn it into a podcast. And I was like, okay. I'm a little nervous because I don't edit audio, but we're just diving right in, and we're going to make it happen. So we're coming to you with the same format, the same lituation.
And
the same
literature.
Here we go with that. And the same literature, you know, and we just gonna get it popping.
Popping.
All right. So y'all already know our format. Our first thing is, well, let me tell you the book. We read An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. So here's a little information on the author. She's a New York Times bestselling author. She has 4 novels. This one was published in 2008, and it is an Oprah's book club selection. And it also appeared on Barack Obama's summer reading list, as well as his end of the year roundup. It's won the Women's Prize for Fiction, Aspen Words Prize, and an NAACP Image Award. She is a member of the Fellowship of Southern Writers. She's a graduate of Spelman College. Okay, shout out to HBCUs, the University of Iowa, and Arizona State. And she is currently a professor of creative writing at Emory University in Georgia. And now Jazz is going to flourish and
Thriving
straight off the dome with the book synopsis.
Let me synopsisize. Okay.
Yes, that's our word.
So American Marriage is the story of Celestial and Roy, who are a newlywed couple. And they have this super unfortunate situation that happens where Roy gets clank locked up. They won't let him out on some charges that he may or may not have done. And the story is basically how their relationship evolves and possibly changes while Roy is incarcerated, and just kind of, are they able to stay together during this time, or are there going to be some changes? So the whole story is just basically them dealing with Roy going to jail in backwoods Louisiana. And that is my synopsis.
Why her voice gets so deep up? So our reactions, that's next. So I guess I will start. My first reaction, well, this book took me a long time to read. I don't know what it was, but it was like slow. Even though the book was like in a modern time frame, it felt like it was set in like the 1800s or something. It was so slow. And
like early 90s though, right? It's like early 90s.
I guess, or like 2000s. You know, yeah. But it was still slow. And the characters, I liked Roy. And I hated Celestial, and I thought Andre was a little sneaky snake. And all my reactions for now.
Okay, so let me just give y'all a little background tea on who Andre is. So Andre is Celestial's best friend, and that's actually how she met Roy. They are like childhood friends, and Roy and Andre went to Morehouse.
Yeah.
And Celestial used to hang out with Andre in his dorm room, and that's how she kind of met Roy. But yes, Andre is a sneaky dog. He is snake. Don't fuck with him. No, like
Cardi say, you a pussy and a rat.
Right, he the op. But Celestial, I could not stand her. Like even from the beginning, like I was like, when I first read the book, like you said, it took me a really long time to read it too.
Yeah.
And as I'm reading it, I'm like, maybe in the beginning I didn't like her. I was like, but let me give her a chance. And no, she never got better. She was just a trash character, just a trashy person.
All around,
just trash. But But yeah, I think so. My reactions are very similar in that sense. I do think it was an interesting story to be told, and I think it was definitely, even though it was like kind of set in the early '90s, 2000s, still a very relatable tale even
Right.
now because we still see situations and cases like Roy's. But yeah, I just couldn't fuck with Celestial, and I also don't like her name. Why is her name
Yeah.
Celestial? What is that?
And the story, like, it's not what you expect. When we've had this book picked out for a while.
Because it was supposed to be in season 1, right?
Yeah. Then we were like, we're trying to read 1,000 books. But we've had this book picked out for a while. So I just had this assumption that it was going to be about a typical Black American marriage, like something like healthy and thriving. And then that just wasn't the case. Like the book starts off with them like in turmoil, like low key. Like it's not like for everyone to see, but they just have some things going on behind closed doors that are just not conducive to life. And I'm just like, oh, this is not what I was expecting at all whatsoever.
Yeah. And I think honestly, one of the things I did enjoy about the book or their relationship was when they would get into arguments, they would call up the date, I think of their first date or the day that they met or something as a way to kind of like stop them from like saying something too aggressive. I think that was good.
Yeah.
But outside of that, their relationship and marriage was kind of trash. So,
but yeah, they had a safe word for arguments, which is smart.
It is smart. It is. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like,
All right, y'all. So that's our little initial reactions. We didn't give you too many spoilers there, but there's probably going to be spoilers in this next section. Y'all already know major scenes and topics. So there's a focus on traditional gender roles. And then we have scenes Andre going to visit his father, Roy using the bait and switch, Celestial having an abortion, Roy finding his bio in prison, the criminal justice system, and love and marriage.
Yes. Yeah. So those are all the same topics that I had. Did you say fidelity or infidelity?
No.
Oh, well, I put fidelity in one of my topics because that was a major topic.
All right. So I guess we'll go down. Well, I'll talk about mine. Focus on traditional gender roles. This book was like so the stereotypical wife, the stereotypical husband, which I'm not. I do follow some things traditionally in my relationship. You know, I'm about to get married in 31 days.
Zappy masterpiece.
Shameless plug. But we do follow some like stereotypical gender roles, some of them. But overall, it's like if my fiance wants to stay home and take care of the child and I'm working, I'm cool with that. This book would just focus on those like stereotypical, the woman is in charge of the home and the man is in charge of outside the home. And I think that's one reason why Celestial and Roy had so many issues in their relationship, because Roy was so traditional and Celestial was so just of the world. She was free. And she's like our generation now, how we're just learning and opening up to new things. And they weren't able to like meet in the middle.
Yeah. And I think that's something they probably didn't discuss or talk about. And just context clues, I don't think they had those conversations before they decided to get married. I think they just kind of went on some passion in their relationship. And they're like, we're going to get married because we love each other. Not really talking about gender roles and like necessary duties within the household. And I'm not saying that you have to follow gender roles, but some people do. And if that works for your relationship, you need to make sure that you and your partner are on the same page. And they definitely were not on the same page.
Yeah. And I think your roles have to be clear no matter if they're gender specific or not. Like that's one thing that EJ and I learned in marriage counseling, like who's going to do what's the roles, and you have to be willing to let those things change. You know, you have to be willing to let that shift in the relationship. All right, the next topic, the criminal justice system
is not meant for the Black man. It is built against the Black man. Okay.
It's a quasi-slavery, basically. Look at the 13th Amendment.
Right. Watch the 13th Amendment documentary on Netflix. Okay.
Right. I didn't even realize that he had got arrested. When he got arrested, I was like, what happened? Like,
and the way it was so descriptive. That scene was so descriptive. But yeah, it's the criminal justice system was meant to suppress the Black man, and they will do it by any means necessary, whether you did the crime or not.
Right. Like, watch When They See Us. Watch the 13th Amendment, and this is what happened to Roy. Like this clean cut guy, college degree, staying at a hotel with his wife. But if they had some conversations and they really knew each other, he would have listened to her premonition.
Oh, that's true.
Because she
told him we shouldn't be. They could have avoided that. See, I wasn't feeling it, but he not
Absolutely.
listening. Him
Yes.
trying to be the man in the relationship, thinking he knew better than her.
Because if he was in touch with his wife, he would listen to what she was tapped into, and this never would have happened.
Yes.
So I'm still on Roy's side, but on that instance, Celestial, she got a little point, so I hate her less.
She's still in the negatives. You're still negative, Celestial.
Yeah, I hate her less now for that.
Yeah. Definitely, criminal justice was a huge thing, huge piece of it, of the whole process, the way that the jury, and I have a quote that kind of ties into that from the book.
Okay, come on, quote.
Okay. This is a quote that was said by Big Roy, who is Roy's dad, and he said, 6 or 12. That's the fate as a black man, carried by 6 or judged by 12. And that's some true stuff. You either gonna be carried by 6 people because you dead in a casket, or you're gonna judge by 12 when you go to court because you want to assist. Yeah. And then I said that quote to David, just like in his opinion. He was like, that's deep and that's true. I'm like, it is, unfortunately. For a black man, you are only expected to either be in jail or to be dead.
Right. Last topic that we had was love and marriage, which I think we did talk on a little bit. But there was a quote. Well, actually, there's a couple quotes about their relationship. So it's the first one I have. It says, "It was a wonderful feeling to be grown and yet young, to be married but not settled, to be tied down yet free." And I think this was Roy. I can't remember. I probably need to go to it. But this was Roy, I think, talking about their relationship and how it was an oxymoron. And I think that just goes back to what we were saying in the beginning, that they really didn't know each other. They didn't really understand each other, and they didn't have that connection. They didn't even have a conversation about, okay, what is going on in this relationship? People hate to get that text in a relationship like, we need to talk. But seriously, they needed to talk. Yeah, you need to talk. So Celestial had this tree in her yard, in her family's yard, that had been there forever. It was really old. Oh, and this is from her. She said, "Our marriage was a sapling graft that didn't have time to take." So she was talking about how you could take a graft from one tree and put it on another to help it to grow or something to that effect. And that's what she was referring to their marriage as, that it really didn't have time to grow and flourish. And I think due to the fact that, one, they didn't have these conversations in their relationship, and two, the fact that Roy was in jail for how long? 6 years? 5 years.
They had only been married 1 year by the time he went, when he got locked up. Yeah. And I think that's a good quote, because she also talked about when you do those grafts, when you take another tree and graft it or whatever to another tree, one tree is the root and the other one's kind of be that new one branching. And she mentioned how she didn't know which one of them was the root and the string in their relationship, kind of keeping them grounded.
Yeah, they didn't have that foundation.
They didn't.
Yeah, for sure.
But going into marriage and stuff, so one of the topics that I had was fidelity, which is a huge thing for me, at least in this book, because like we said, Andre, he won't crap. Celestial won't crap. And technically Roy, by some standards, may not have been shit either, depending on how you look at the situation with Roy and Davina.
Don't talk about my man's Roy, okay? Roy, he was a trooper, okay? He had been through some stuff.
He had been through. I'm not faulting him for what he did, but I'm just saying I definitely fault Celestial.
Oh yeah, but yeah, Roy wasn't faithful though. So, but he was buying lingerie for somebody else or something like that.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. I forgot about that part. I was just thinking about Davina.
I'm sorry, but you were talking about fidelity.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm just saying definitely from Celestial's standpoint, where definitely some fidelity issues and just not being honest in a relationship.
All right, so now we're going to talk about some major scenes. So let's see. Andre going to visit his father. I know this is not really in order of the book, but Andre going to visit his father. So Andre,
Daddy Carlos.
Yes. So Andre is Celestial's friend. Basically grew up like his brother. And when Roy goes to jail, spoiler alert, Andre done snuck his way in to Celestial's house.
Panties.
Her house, her panties, her bed, and they are in this relationship towards the end of Roy's jail stint. Mind you, he was innocent. And he was still in jail, but Andre done slid up in there, and he hasn't talked to his father, I think,
in years.
Yeah, at all, since he was a little boy. So he goes to, I think his father cheated on his mother as well.
Yeah.
So he goes to his father before he's supposed to go like talk to Andre and be like, let me and Celestial have our thing, blah, 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 blah. What do you think about that scene, Jazz, when he goes to see his father?
So okay, I do have a quote from that scene, but it doesn't really pertain to the conversation that he had. I think it was very interesting of him. Like, you don't talk to your father at all. You completely have no ties, but that's the person that you go get advice from. And I feel like you knew that you were doing something wrong and you were doing some dirt for you to go to some person that you know has done some dirt, and you were just trying to find some justification
Yeah.
because you knew that your dad had done so much bad stuff, and he's
Mm-hmm.
able to now live with himself, live with his life, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get some advice from him on how I can
Right.
live myself, knowing that I'm doing this dirt.
Back to what you were saying about him going to his dad, like he was seeking validation, but I appreciate the things that his dad said. His dad, I feel like his dad basically told him in a nutshell, you're wrong, accept your beating. Like, Roy is not going to take this lying down, and that is what it is. And I feel like Andre just had too much pride to just be like, to just have his head down and be like, I know I'm wrong, just let me take my beating. Even though him and Roy actually fought, I feel like he was still trying to be too like, oh, let me fight for my
Right.
woman. Like, no, you stole this man's wife.
Right. Like, not so the time that Roy was locked up, you were with his wife for more than 50% of that time. Like, that's not right.
Yeah.
Like, you deserve them fists and them hands.
It just, you're supposed to be my friend. I know that Andre was Celestial's friend first, but him and Roy also developed a relationship. That just breaks guy code. That breaks relationship code. That breaks girl code. Just so many codes. Like,
yeah,
no.
and then also what was getting me about Andre is that he was just not, even though I don't like Celestial, I feel like he still wasn't respecting her feelings and her boundaries. She's in a really weird predicament right now, and she finds out that when she does find out that, you know, Roy may be getting released, she's trying to deal with that, and here you are trying to rush and forward our relationship when I don't even know about this relationship that I still technically am in legally.
Right. Still married.
Still married. So I just felt like he just was not considerate. He was only thinking about himself. And I remember in the book, his mother told him, got another quote. I got quotes for days.
Jada will never have quotes.
I know. His mama told him, what's for you is for you. Extend your hand and claim your best blessing. So, which is true. What is meant for you will be for you. But I think Andre took that a little too much to heart and was reaching for something that technically was not his. That wasn't for you.
It was out of season.
Right.
It wasn't his time.
What other major scenes you got?
We had Roy using the bait and switch.
Oh, so
yes. Andre had planned to pick up Roy from prison and talk to him and bring him back to where him and Celestial were living. But Roy was like, it ain't gonna go down like that. I'm gonna actually go see Celestial while you think you on your way to come pick me up so that I can handle this situation, which I respect Roy for doing, because I feel like Andre, first of all, Celestial was a puss for not going to talk to her husband about their relationship and about what she was doing with Andre.
Right.
So I feel like Roy had every right to do the bait and switch on Andre, because like she needed to talk to him face to face and like man up about the whole situation. Sorry to use that term, but she just needed to be mature about the whole situation and talk to Roy face to face and give him the honest, like, okay, this is how I feel, like, what's gonna happen. So I appreciate Roy for doing that, because if he hadn't done that, we'd be like, man, Roy, you're a punk. Like, come on, get your woman back. Like, you gotta at least fight for her before you give up.
Right, that was not Andre's place to go. Like, Celestial and Roy are married. Like, that was her job to go and have that conversation with Roy, and she completely avoided it. She sent someone else to do her bidding, and then whenever it did happen, she was like, oh, I guess I do need to talk to you. Like, girl, come on. But yeah, no, I was happy when he did the bait and switch. That's exactly what Andre got. And I like that his daddy was involved, Roy's daddy.
Yeah. I like Roy's daddy. Everybody was on Roy's side except for, I think, Celestial's mom. Celestial's mom was like all for her and Andre. And I was like, that is so messy. Like, if she wasn't married, it would be a different thing. But y'all are married. Like, no. Like, I don't know what I would do if my significant other went to jail, but I feel like in my mind right now, I would I would honestly wait for them, like especially if they were
Right.
innocent.
Right.
Especially
Like
if they were innocent.
if you knew for a fact that your man was innocent, I was telling David this, like I'm a wait. David's like, no, I don't want you to wait for me. Like, no, if I know for a fact that you're innocent, like
Right.
I'm gonna do everything in my power to help you get through that and get
Yeah.
out of that. Like get appeals, whatever the case may be. I'm gonna help you. I'm not gonna
Right.
just be like, all right, well you're in there. My life is still going on the outside, so let me go live my life. Like,
Right.
no, I don't know.
Right.
I don't feel
Yeah.
like it's something I would do.
Yeah. I feel like you don't stop your life. You keep moving, but like still, I was like you said, still wait for that person, especially if they're innocent. Like that's just respect for y'all relationship and respect for what y'all had.
Hmm.
Like, you're trying to help him, but then also while you're on the outside, you probably need to be talking to a mental health professional just to make sure you on your P's and Q's. Black people do go to therapy.
Yes,
Okay.
go to therapy. Oh.
I just think Celestial was trash.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna keep saying that. Moving on, Celestial having an abortion.
Oh yes.
So we find out
Spoiler
that
alert.
Celestial is pregnant. She finds out that she's pregnant while Roy is in prison.
Hmm.
And Roy actually told her to have an abortion because he didn't want his son, or we don't know if it's a boy or not, but he didn't want his child to grow up without him while he was in prison.
Drama. But no, I do feel like because I do think that unfortunately Roy was robbed of that chance to have children, and unfortunately that's just so sad.
Yeah.
Like Roy didn't deserve that. Roy was a good
Yeah.
man.
I know. He wanted a child so bad. Poor Roy.
Yeah.
That's my man. That's my man's, not my man, my man's with an S. All right, our last scene is Roy going to prison and finding his biological father.
Yes.
So
That's
the tea
it.
is Roy's mama got pregnant by another man when she
Mhm.
was younger, and this man left her. So Roy's dad, Big Roy, met her, and everybody was like, "Oh, you don't need to marry her. She's pregnant by somebody else." He still married her and raised Roy like his own son. Even changed his name, like gave Roy his name, and Roy didn't know otherwise until he got older. His parents like sat him down and told him.
Mhm.
But from what Roy knew, Big Roy was his father. So Roy goes to jail, and he finds his actual father. I was flabbergasted, to say the
Flabbergasted.
least. Like his dad was in prison with him, and all the while, like his dad was dropping knowledge on him. But I think he needed his dad there to guide him through being in prison, because if he had just been there by himself without any guidance, he probably would have killed himself or gotten in fights with other people and gotten in more trouble. And
Mhm.
Big Roy was like, you know, quote unquote his like outside dad when he was doing well for himself and out there living in the real world without having these confines and constraints on him. But his bio dad had to be in there for him to guide him, because prison changes you, like
Yes.
no matter what. Like Roy was changed, but he had, like I said, he just had to have his dad was a guide for him, and just it was his prison dad. But I think at the end of the book he acknowledged that what is his dad's real name? I forgot.
Walter.
Oh, he acknowledged Walter like as his father, and he still acknowledged Roy as his father, but in different aspects.
Yeah, I think that was big. Like that was a really interesting plot twist to add to the story.
Hmm.
I think it was already had a dynamic with the fact that he didn't, know who his biological father was, but to find out, hey, not only are you my biological father, you're also my cellmate. So it's like,
Right.
like it's a really interesting dynamic. And then also on the flip side, it's really unfortunate, and it's just like another plight of the black man is that your father is incarcerated just like you, so you're technically becoming another slave.
Okay,
So,
Jazz, come on. Yes. Come on, layers and levels.
but yes.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think that was a really good thing, but also extremely deliberate by the author to add that kind of layer, kind of tying back to the criminal justice system and how it applies to black men. But
Yes.
and then also not going back into that is because when he got with the new chick, she was looking for her son, and her son was clank clank too.
Oh yes. Wow. I just realized that.
Remember, carried by 6 and judged by 12.
That would be the title of the episode. So that's all we have for major scenes and topics. That was a lot, but we do have a new segment for the podcast, which we're calling Sips. All right, and in this segment, we're gonna have any questions or comments or just anything from our listeners. So this is our first episode or our first podcast. So we don't have any right now, but so my sip is in the back of the book, it gives like a little, I don't know, Tayari, I guess her acknowledgments at the end. She talks about how she wrote this story, and this story started off from her people watching at the mall, and she listened to a conversation that this couple was having, and just based off of that conversation, she created this whole entire story. She just heard like a little snippet of the things that they were saying, but just based off of that, she was able to create this entire novel, which I thought was like really cool. Like, you're sitting here watching people, and then you create an entire story just based on what you heard. And I think she even used one of their names, like the man's name in the story. So that's my tip.
That is a good sip. Well, tying into your sip was the fact that when she originally wrote the book, she told the entire story from Celestial's point of view. Mm-hmm. But when she let some people read it, they did not like it because they didn't like Celestial. So she had to add in some other layers and some other point of views so that people wouldn't completely hate Celestial.
Right. Yeah, because we forgot to mention, the story is told from different perspectives. So you get Roy, Andre, Celestial. Do you get his dad and his mom?
No, it's just the three of them, and then there's letters that they use between Celestial and Celestial.
Right. All right, now time for our favorite segment.
We're gonna rate that book. We're gonna rate that book. We're gonna rate it. And rate it. And rate. And rate it.
Y'all can't see me. I'm Millie rocking right now.
And rate it.
Did I even write down my rating? I didn't. All right, Jazz, this was your book, so you go first. This is your pick.
It was my pick. All right, so for those of you who don't know, first of all, let's go over our rating system.
Yes, I forgot. Go ahead. You want to do it?
I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. Hopefully I get it right. Yeah. So our rating system is as follows. So we have sober, which is basically, this book is garbage. The book is not leave the house. The book is not wasted. The book is not even sipping on anything. And then from there we have buzz, which is like the book. I had a sip. You like it? You feel a little tingly. I'm feeling a little good. And then we have tipsy, which that book is elevated. That book been knocking them back. They feeling real good. They hitting that mean two-step. That two-step. You know what I'm saying? And then you have lit, which that book is amazing. Okay. You got your hand in black girl formation for twerking.
Y'all, I just want to say that this is the best description of our rating system that Jazz has ever given. This has given me life, okay?
Look, y'all, I'm getting my shit together, so I'm doing better now. Okay. But yes, so based on that rating system, I had to give this book a tipsy. Okay, mainly because I could not fucking stand Celestial. If I had liked the bitch, then maybe would have been lit, but I couldn't stand her. So the book is tipsy. No, on some real stuff. I definitely think the book was really good, really, really important to read. It has some really good information, especially related to the criminal justice system, and the fact that the author was able to create this whole book based on just listening to a conversation. Super dope, super cool. Again, I just did not like Celestial. For her to be such a huge character, like the main character, and for me not to like her at all, she reminded me of like an adult Margot. And I always got to throw Margot Sanchez in there.
Right, I was going to say, if y'all don't know, go to my channel and watch our review of The Education of Margot Sanchez, and you'll know exactly what Jazz is talking about.
Fuck that bitch. But no, seriously, I think An American Marriage is definitely a tipsy book. That is my rating, and I'm out.
All right, so my rating is tipsy as well. Yes! I don't know why we're back to choosing these books that are like and at the beginning, like, sorry, y'all can't see me. I'm so used to video. They're just like slow to start. Um, but I will say that the book, I've been drinking too.
I do say
That the book picked up as it got towards the end when he was in jail. And I do appreciate that it wasn't a typical marriage story. Mm-hmm. Like, this was just a totally opposite of what I was thinking that it was. I will say I just wanted a little more from like the writing, but I really enjoyed this book. I'm going to give it a tipsy. It's not quite lit, but I will give it a tipsy, even though Barack and Oprah recommended it. We're going to go against the grain. It is tipsy. You can read it. You should read it. That's what we are saying when we rate that tipsy. Okay.
You should read it. You should most definitely read it. Okay.
All right, y'all. That is it for today's podcast. I don't even know how we're going to wrap this up, but thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Okay. Yes. Make sure you download and all that jazz. And follow us on Instagram
at Black Girl Lit _. Yes, no YT.
Yes, we changed it. Yeah, and Twitter is the same, right?
Twitter is the same, yes, at Black Girl Lit _. Right. So definitely make sure to follow. Please engage with us. We need engagement still, okay? Please continue to engage with us. Okay.
And mainly subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Yeah. And that's it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye. Oh, and as always, stay Black Girl Lit.
Stay Black Girl Lit.